Time to break out the popcorn, the Reese's peanut butter cups, and the beer if you're of age. We're gonna talk about a so bad it's good movie. So some of you may know that I am a huge fan of horror movies, and I'm also a fan of a website called oneofus.net. Oneofus.net is this fantastic podcast network where you can listen to all kinds of different podcasts about movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, etc. My favorite podcast on that network is called Digital Noise, which is a weekly podcast about Blu-rays and DVD releases, and once a week they do a Twitter contest and give away a movie, and this week I won. Thank you. I've never won anything. What did I win? Oh. Not only had I never seen Monster Dog before I won this, I had never even heard of it. Starring the horror rock legend Alice Cooper and directed by Carlos Santurio, the legendary director of the classic immortal Trolls 2. So I thought I'd give a shout out at the super cool guys at oneofus.net and talk a little bit about Monster Dog and my experiences with it. The movie opens with an Alice Cooper music video that looks like it was shot by the director of Troll 2. The video consists of Cooper dressing up as James Bond and a cowboy and Sherlock Holmes, and this is not the weirdest thing in the movie, believe it or not. We then snap out of the music video and see that Alice Cooper is listening to it on the radio in his car, traveling with his friends on a way to shoot a new music video. If it sounds confusing, it's because it is. See, Alice Cooper is playing Vince Raven. I know. A rock star, much like the real Alice Cooper. So you'd think they'd have him dress like, like Alice Cooper would normally dress. No. Instead, the movie dresses him up like Jerry Seinfeld, and he seems to be dubbed by someone who's doing an impression of one of those actors from 1950s science fiction movies.
There's a disease, a heart disease that transforms the patient into some kind of madman, a beast that goes howling at the moon like a wolf.
So the very badly dubbed group of filmmakers are on their way to Vince's hometown to shoot a new music video, and on the way they hit a dog. Oh. Then this old man covered in blood just comes out of nowhere and just starts screaming, "You're all gonna die." And this is generally everyone's reaction to seeing this guy pop out. Because that's how normal people would react. Now, I'm not saying that Alice Cooper can't act. I love Alice Cooper. Let's not forget his memorable, terrifying performance in John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. But the dubbing for everyone in this movie is so terrible.
What? That's crazy. That thing we saw out there was an animal of some kind, not a man.
That it just makes all of their terrible dialogue even worse.
The year 2000 is just around the corner. I am a recognized expert in electronic videos, and you are the hottest rock and roll star in the world.
So everyone arrives at Vince's hometown, which apparently is in the middle of a moor or something, because it's just this house out in the middle of nowhere. And the only people that seem to be populating this town are rednecks with guns and redneck cops with guns.
This here's the bullet that will pierce Vince Roberts' heart.
Then we have a very long dream sequence in which one of the girls who came along on the trip has a dream sequence where everyone is being attacked. And then there's some actually pretty interesting gore and blood effects. I mean, not great, definitely, but for the time. But you know right away that it's a dream sequence because everyone's not going to die in the first 20 minutes of this movie. It's only 70 minutes long. Then they start filming the music video in the house, and this is some low-budget filmmaking. I mean, I have never seen a music video shoot in which there were only 5 people in the crew and cast. I mean, it's impressive. As I was trying to think of deep, interesting things to say about this movie, all I kept coming back to was the fact that Alice Cooper, in this movie, has these strands of hair on his cheekbones that it's like, when people have moles and they have hair around the moles. I can almost see the director, doing that as a choice Like, I can almost see a situation where he was like, let's put some hair on his face, just a little bit, just a little strands of hair on his face to subtly suggest he could be a werewolf. The director is Italian, by the way, and yes, he does have a comically oversized mustache. So eventually the werewolf thing shows up, and it is a puppet, and it looks like a giant hand puppet. So according to IMDb, to get the dogs to attack the people, they were deprived for food for 2 days, and then their jackets were stuffed with bits of dog meat that resembled guts. I'd like to see them try to make this movie now. PETA would have kittens. So these rednecks with guns then show up, and they're all like, is Alice Cooper here? And our very intelligent lead characters are like, no, but come inside and wait for him, because that's what I would do in that situation. But shock and awe, the rednecks attack everyone because they're just there to kill Alice Cooper, who they think is the werewolf. Are you still following me? It's at this point that the movie just goes off the rails. That's when all the dogs start attacking everyone, and we have like some typical, you know, scary movie dogs. But then we also have dogs of different breeds, like there's a Scottish Terrier in there at some point. Eventually there's a tragic ending where Alice Cooper has inherited the werewolf disease, and he becomes a werewolf and starts to transform, and his girlfriend has to kill him, a la Gina Davis in The Fly.
Do it before it's too late! Come on! Shoot me! Come on!
And the girlfriend's reaction after she's killed him is one of the strangest and funniest things I've ever seen. And then they just replay the music video from the beginning of the movie with other clips of the movie thrown in there so they can reach a feature-length running time. Much like Troll 2, it's like almost competently made, like it kind of looks like a real movie, but it's just the directing decisions and the acting decisions make no sense. It just boggles the mind. I will say it's not like the best bad movie I've ever seen before. It's not as good as Troll 2, but there are definitely some really funny and awkward moments in it that will just like have you confused and laughing at the same time. So I would say if you're a fan of So Bad It's Good movies and you're a fan of like horror movies from the 80s or Alice Cooper, yeah, highly recommend. And this was released on high definition Blu-ray. What a time to be alive.
Sometimes when the moon was full, he'd leave the house and go wandering through the fields like an animal. One time, my mother found him underneath a bush. His hands and his mouth were covered with blood. And next to him on the ground were the remains of a baby calf. He'd ripped the guts out and eaten them.
Oh my God.